Okay, this is for the realsies, gentlemen.
Alrighty.
I've got our list of topics here.
Okay.
You're going to introduce the podcast?
We're going to introduce the podcast. This is the inaugural pilot episode, so to speak, of what we're tentatively calling the Health Breakfast podcast, the Health Breakfast Super Show, the Health Breakfast Super Fun Time Best Webcomic Podcast, if you're so inclined.
Yeah, privately I'm going to be calling it Shit Show Incoming.
And then publicly 2 minutes
to all
later.
of those people I talk to.
Yes. Okay. So we have a list of topics we're going to go down today. Hopefully, the show's going to run about an hour. I have a feeling we're either going to go.
I feel like we're going to get.
I feel like we're not going to get to an hour. I feel like the alternative is we're going to go way over an hour. So
really,
yeah, maybe not. Probably not. We're gonna shoot the shit quite a bit. We're also going to play some. I don't want to call them games, but we're going to have some timed segments. With some caveats that I think people will honestly not give a shit about, but fuck those guys. The
listener can't see it, but the shit grin on this guy when he said segments. He is so fucking pleased with himself right now.
Oh, I'm already having a good time.
You're pretty hyped for this.
I'm pretty hyped for this. I have been pretty hyped for the idea ever since I drank too much whiskey at Kyle's and said, like, we should do a podcast. We should do a podcast. I don't even know what it's going to be about. Just fuck it. We'll just do it.
You know, I like you mentioning that because I also have been to Kyle's. Kyle's a good guy.
That's where we are.
Oh, yeah, that's where we are. We are in Kyle's basement right now. I'm sorry. I'm supposed to be running this fucking thing, and I am already the one taking it off the rails. So, I'm Brendan Albetsky. I don't want to use my last name. I'm going to bleep that out. I'm Brendan.
Awesome.
I'm Brendan. I'm here with 2 of my closest cohorts and your co-hosts on the show with me tonight. We have to my left Ryan. Say hello.
This is your right, drunkie.
Hey, they didn't need to know that. To my actual left, I have Kyle, whose house we're at right now. We're in his basement. It's covered in sawdust. I'm more sawdust than man right now. Kyle, say hello.
I'm also more across than to the left.
You're already throwing wrenches all up in my shit.
This is why we should have done a TV pilot. I've been saying it for.
Yeah, we need the video to show the people.
You can't see my form.
They have to know.
They can't fix me in their minds.
So I think we're going to start off the evening with one of the quote unquote games we're going to be playing frequently. We're going to call this segment 5 minutes on the clock, and it's as simple as it sounds. We're going to put 5 minutes on the clock, and we're going to talk about a subject. Our first subject for the evening, gentlemen. 5 minutes on the clock. What are you drinking this evening, and why?
We're starting right off.
We're gonna start right off with that. We might do it again later when we get to our wing beverages, but we're gonna start with we're gonna start right out of the gate.
Wonderful. So
I'm gonna start the clock. The clock starts now.
Awesome. So ever since Ryan came down with this red fucking monstrosity, I have to know what's in that fucking glass.
Now, do you want to know what's in it, or do you want to know why I neglected the celery stalk?
You know, I want to.
Is that a Bloody Mary?
No, I don't know.
I want to start for this one. I actually want to work backward. I want to start with why, and then I want to know what it is.
Okay. The why of it is, as our listeners will come to find out, I'm something between a 90-year-old man and a 9-year-old child. So
9-year-old girl.
That's
is,
true.
Is what you're looking for.
Why do I bleed though?
Am I missing a key reference?
No. Don't get down the rabbit hole. Anyway, so I occasionally like to engage in my more childlike impulses. If anyone has ever been given, childlike impulses. If anyone has ever been at, let's say, a Burger King, McDonald's, a fast food joint, and has been given the medium soft drink cup by their parents and said, "Go get what you want,"
You suicide it.
You are going to come back with all.
No, you come back with the suicide. Yeah,
precisely.
No, absolutely.
So, I don't trust myself quite that much to mix liquors, so I instead mixed bases for everything that I could get my hands on.
And then just dumped whiskey in it?
Yeah, it's a Duke's ransom of whiskey. I won't go so far as a King's ransom, but then it is cranberry juice, organic lemonade, and a little bit of OJ, and I
gotta say, it looks just fucking terrible.
Yeah, well...
I mean, cranberry and OJ works.
The whiskey...
Yeah, but the lemonade and the organic lemonade, and then whiskey? Well, I mean, I've done weirder things. I really have.
It's Evan Williams, by the way. I
used to do
off people's whiskey.
I used to do, and Ryan can attest to this. I used to do beer and coffee in college all the time. I would mix them for no reason beyond I want both beer and coffee in my mouth at the same time.
All right, we're not going to get into it now because it's way much more fun to do it after the segment. But things you did in college with alcohol doesn't stop with beer and coffee.
We
it
don't
should start with the Kraken.
It starts with beer and
I got
coffee.
something. What we are drinking is some lovely whiskey and cokes.
It's the Jim Beam Jacob's Ghost
is that
whiskey.
what you put in these?
That's what I put in mine. I don't know what the fuck you put in yours.
No, you made this for me.
Oh, you got the Evan Williams then.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
this.
I'm on the tail end of it right now.
I'm drinking Jim Beam Jacob's Ghost, and the reason I'm drinking it is because our dear friend Mr. Chips left it here,
Yes, please,
and
use
it's
his
ours now.
last
And that's
name.
become
Hey,
mine.
MB Chips is on the internet. He's a personality.
You can
He's
look
a
him
YouTube
up on
man.
youtube.com/mbchips.
Yes, you can.
Can we?
I believe you can.
Oh, cool. I thought
Yeah.
he burned it to the ground.
No, I believe you can. No, he burned a lot of it, but I'm pretty sure he's still there.
So he kept, like, the love nest.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Chips left that here, and along with his glasses, which are also ours.
Are they still here? I don't know.
I don't
think
know.
You may have taken them.
Kyle's drinking the Evan Williams, and this is just a start. We might end up doing this segment again today because we have beverages waiting in the wings. This is not a sober podcast.
Relating to your coffee and beer.
Yeah.
I remember I had my cousin telling me about. She was on a plane, and the dude next to her asked for a cup of coffee and one of those little mini bottles of wine, and he mixed them together.
Oh.
And
Well,
it's just like, why wouldn't you ask for something like whiskey and you could be Irishing it up.
Yeah,
I
could. Or
just,
you could be an
he
alcoholic.
asked for wine.
I really think back in the day I was just trying to gross people out by drinking coffee and beer together, and it worked. But I called it Buzz Beer, and the reason was, if anybody remembers the Drew Carey show, they had a microbrewery in his garage, and they made a beer called Buzz Beer, and its claim to fame was that it was coffee-flavored beer.
Didn't he have a slogan?
I don't remember.
I imagine it would.
I've never actually seen the Drew Carey show.
The Drew
but I
Carey
feel
show
like
was
I've
very
heard it
funny.
before.
I don't remember much of it, but I remember I used to
At
like
a
it.
guess,
as a
I
kid.
would say it had a slogan followed by a laugh track followed by Ryan Stiles smiling.
And doing moose antlers.
A little bit.
Oh, oh god, I'll never forget this. Before last summer, my current roommate and my roommate from college were hanging together. They were getting pretty drunk. They ended their night with shots of tequila dumped into Corona beer.
I have sexually seen that done before. That's not so weird to me. I have heard of that being a thing.
I could not believe what I was hearing when
Brendan,
I heard
I've
that.
seen
How
the
is that a
people you
thing?
hang out with. Nothing is weird to you when it comes to liquor.
Oh, time's up.
Wow, good timing.
Good timing. All right. Okay, so
Let's keep talking about liquor.
let's keep talking about liquor because it's literally all we've got anymore.
Let's.
Good God.
Do you remember the days of big cock wine? Those were good.
No.
I know the clock is up and we're going to change subjects any minute
I'm
now.
not
Let's call this
drinking
over.
it now.
We're already breaking the rules of the game in
No,
our
this is
first
shoot
segment in
the
our
shit.
first show. I actually just the other day had a bottle of Rex Goliath
Big cock
big
wine.
cock wine. It was free range white. It was free range white. It was called, but yeah, it's the only wine that is based on the proud storied history of a 47-pound rooster. And that is just something else.
And we saw it in college, and we desired it, and we drank it.
And
How did it end up?
poorly, as most things did.
I think I usually did the bottle in one go.
It wasn't.
You don't put the big cock down. You finish the big cock until it is empty.
I can tell you, it wasn't roll you down the hill bad, but it was bad.
No, roll me down the hill bad was when I had 3 Mike's Harders.
It was the
lemonade.
Mike's Harders. It was
I have a
always
story
it was
history
always
of bitch
amusing that
drinks.
Ryan's lightweight tolerance combined with his naivety in the world of alcohol always ended up with some amusing things. And we don't really want to regale people of the
No,
God, are they
burn it
really
all
the
to the
glory
ground,
days?
yeah.
We want to call them that. I just remember the one time that I went out for the night and I came back, and I actually did a comic about this when I was the comics editor at the paper. And it was the one that the text didn't show up on, and nobody could read it. But I came back to the room. Ryan sat bolt upright in bed, threw a bottle at me, screamed, "I'm going back to Zurich," and then just flopped down and was just out cold.
Wow. I've never heard that story.
Yeah,
we've all heard the other one, which we'll save for future podcasting. We'll leave that as a mystery.
That one's a little worse.
We will leave that as a mystery to
Let's
the
move.
listeners and my employees.
We're gonna move on. We're gonna move right along to comics on the internet. Obviously, if you're listening to this, it's on the Hell to Breakfast website. You're on the Hell to Breakfast website. You know what that shit's all. You're probably reading the fucking comic. I mean, I don't know why you're here if you're not.
I just like your news posts.
I do get hate mail. I haven't gotten some in a very long time, but I used to get a little bit of hate mail. And
Wait,
so I imagine.
Do you get hate mail
or hate comments? Hate comments.
No, but there's hate and there's hate. Because the ones I remember you telling me about were like 3 panels and a punchline, please.
Yeah, well, so that kind of shit. So either you stumbled here by accident, or you are a fan of the comic. And if you are a fan of the comic, I love you very much. I love you, baby.
This guy.
Yeah. But
this needs less orange juice and more whiskey.
So so normally, in this Comics on the Internet segment, we would talk about some lesser known webcomics that we all enjoy reading. I know we've definitely got some kind of indie underground shit that we're fans of, and we didn't really do a whole lot of prep for this episode because we're kind of still feeling out what we want to do.
If you want me to go 5 minutes on webcomics, I can do it.
I actually don't right now. I will let you off the leash at some point, but it's not going to be right now. Everybody who's here knows that I obviously am the creator, the writer, and the artist on Hell to Breakfast. Ryan is the creator and the writer and the former artist for.
Let's not call it artist.
Well, yeah, for comics.
Visual arranger
for royaltyfreespeech.com. The comic used to be called Royalty Free Speech. The comic is called Added Him now. I've done a couple of issues as the artist for him.
I do jack shit.
Kyle does jack shit. Yeah.
No. Let's not.
Kyle's my patron on Patreon. That's all that matters.
I got you $1.
You did. That's all. Hey, and if you really like to check out Patreon, I'd help.
I will kick you in the teeth.
Can we get a sound effect? We need like a buzzer sound effect
some
for every time
buzzer.
we get shameless
plug. Yeah, I desperately want a soundboard, and I'm going to try to put one together at some point.
Okay, yeah, listeners, listen to me very carefully. Every time the motherfucker starts the clock, if you do not hear it's time to play the game, shoot him hate mail.
Awesome. I want to see how many fucking wrestling walk-up songs we can put in here before somebody hunts us down and
kills
gives
us
a cease and desist.
It's probably going to be the first time we get a guest star and we play one of the gang, and then Rob Van Dam shows up in his car and just frowns at us.
Hey, no, he'd probably smoke us up first.
Kyle
and I just watched ECW One Night Stand 2005, where Paul Heyman comes out and he's tearing up because the crowd is just so into it. And, that was ECW's Paul Heyman's baby.
This was after ECW folded, and the DVD sales were so good that the WWE decided to do a one-time special, an ECW special. Basically, get the gang back together and do an ECW pay-per-view. So and Paul Heyman comes out midway through the show, roughly.
Yeah, it was about
it was toward the end, and the crowd reaction was huge, and he was getting huge "Thank you, Paul" chants, and
clearly tearing up too.
Yeah,
right?
he was having a moment. He's just like, my eyes aren't red because I'm crying. My eyes are red because I smoked a joint with RVD backstage.
Oh, to address an earlier comment, I think it's.
We are going to get back to comics on the internet in just a second. I'm going to put 5 minutes on the clock, and we're going to talk comics on the internet.
Rather than say that Kyle does jack shit, let's rather phrase it as he makes more than twice the amount of income he and I combined do.
Kyle is what I like to call my enabler. Kyle. If I give Kyle something to read, he'll read it and he'll enjoy it and he'll tell me such. He brings me over to his home and he feeds me beer and liquor and sometimes other things. I've had a lot of steak here over the years. So it's like Kyle is Kyle may not create comics himself, but Kyle is definitely supporting the habit. So comics on the internet. I'm gonna put 5 minutes on the clock and we're gonna bullshit a little bit. And I would like to talk a little bit about the current story that's on Hell to Breakfast. We don't have to if you guys don't want to. I don't know if you've been reading it.
I'll admit to you, I have not been reading the latest.
That's alright. I haven't been listening to the wrestling podcasts.
Most of your comics arcs I read when I get them in the Patreon as a complete.
Yeah, that is.
And then I'll just read right through.
That is one of the perks of patronage.
Which actually I haven't even checked. I have the email in my inbox from
there are no new. I don't believe there are any new PDFs for. There is. I took a snippet out of the latest Addison story that I put in there. The Arthur story. Okay, so I'm gonna put 5 minutes on the clock because we're getting into this.
Real quick. Just because this is something that actually interests me. So you're a patron of his comic.
Yes.
I have to ask you, if you were given the option between receiving a PDF and an ebook that you could just load onto a Kindle, which would you prefer?
I mean, I can load a PDF onto my Kindle.
Okay.
I mean, PDF's a pretty universal format.
Okay.
I think we should do both.
You could do
I
both.
just recently learned how to make
Yeah.
ebooks, so I want to be able to take advantage of that in best way possible. But...
Anyway,
All
time
right.
to play the game.
Gentlemen, 5 minutes on the clock. Let's talk about comics on the internet.
Alrighty. So I say that
Before
we
we even
have
start off, I just want to be like, I mean, comics. I haven't read religiously a comic on the internet probably since college.
What are you reading right now?
Right now, I usually catch up on Penny Arcade every week or so.
Okay.
And I usually have Womp on my bookmark.
That was what I
Womp
was
is
going to talk
Womp is the
about.
fucking best.
See, Penny Arcade doesn't need us to shill for him. Womp, let's give him the love we can give him.
Yeah, let's give Ronnie all the love we can possibly give a human being. And I can't.
Carrying
I don't.
on the torch of Horribleville.
Yeah. Oh, for fucking seriously. And I can't. I want to say you pronounce his last name Philia. Does that sound right?
You know what? I think he'll be okay if we slightly mispronounce it.
He's not going to be able to do this anyway.
That's true.
Judging by his comic, and I follow him on Twitter, and I read his comic, and I think he's just one of the funniest guys out there right now. And knowing him, his personality, just from his internet persona, if we pronounced his name wrong, he would be too shy to correct us, and it could even blossom into such a thing where he just decided that was his new name. Like this guy, from what I understand, Ronnie is not too far off of his actual
his kayfabe
persona. Yeah.
That's the thing is when I read Womp, it's like every few comics I read, I'm just like, oh god, that's too real.
So I believe the website URL for this is wompcomic.com.
It's wompcomic.com.
Wompcomic.com.
I'm gonna real quick make
Yeah,
sure.
do a quick check. Normally,
Fact check.
this is one of those things that's like we should do our fucking research beforehand.
No,
we didn't this time. But yeah, I believe it's wompcomic.com.
Wompcomic.com. No hyphen in between the Womp and the comic.
WHOMP comic.com. And yeah, Womp is something that Ryan introduced me to. And did you introduce everybody to?
I believe to me is. I think you may have sent me one at one point, and then I started following it.
I think it's very safe to say that out of anyone in this group and anyone we would bring into this little circle, I read more webcomics than anyone.
Oh, absolutely.
Probably.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
if you read webcomics, you'll probably see that on any that have kind of made it past that first echelon, there's probably a ring of other comics beneath theirs. It's whatever network they belong to, whether it's Hive.
Now
or
Ronnie's
something
on
like that.
Hiveworks, yeah.
Ronnie is on Hiveworks, so that I want to say that I was reading Girls with Slingshots, but I honestly can't remember if it's a Hiveworks title. It might have been something else.
I could not get into Girls with Slingshots, and I can't remember why. It's something I've been meaning to try again.
It's a little far in at this point.
Yeah. That's the other great thing about Womp is there is something of a canon to it. There's definitely a continuity, but you can pick it up. You can pick it up at any point. It's a gag-a-day strip with continuity, so you can pick it up at any point. But he's also got a random button, and chances are you're gonna laugh your ass off. It's a very, very funny comic.
So no shame in recommending.
Oh, absolutely not. No shame at all.
And actually, a comic I should start following again that I haven't read in probably about 2 months is Gun Show. Gun Show has kind of turned me off in the past.
We don't have enough time.
Yeah, we really don't.
And it's just like it's
It's
good.
not your Casey Green. It's your
huge
work.
props to Casey Green because
I love Casey Green.
He has always done just whatever the fuck he wants, and there's always something to appreciate about what he's doing.
And he should do what he wants. Absolutely.
He's working on some cool stuff right now. On the week-to-week Gun Show updates have been a little more geared towards that gag-a-day style of punchline at the end of comic with no continuation.
Supernatural Cowboy one. What the hell is that called?
Back.
Read Back.
Back is great.
Like, okay, here's an analogy for you. If you read Chainsaw Suit and then jumped to Brood Hollow, read Gun Show and jump to Back.
What the fuck is Brood Hollow?
You don't know Brood Hollow?
No.
Oh, that's okay. Well, we're gonna save Brood Hollow for another segment for another time because Brood Hollow deserves its own segment.
But read Brood Hollow.
Brood Hollow. Do you
Here's
read
the
Chainsaw
perfect
Suit?
description.
I've read Chainsaw Suit. I don't follow Chainsaw Suit.
Okay, Ryan,
I'm familiar with Chainsaw Suit.
I heard the best description of Brood Hollow just the other day, and I have to say it was from Slowbeef, who's one of the key guys at Red Super on YouTube. It is Tintin meets Innsmouth.
Tintin Goes to Innsmouth. Yeah.
It is Tintin Goes to Innsmouth. It is a sort of almost too lighthearted, very cartoony, almost like really comical, kind of bumbling main character who just finds himself ass deep in Lovecraft without ever meaning to, and it spirals down from there. The art is very strong. It's one of those rare times when you wouldn't think his style would transition well to it. It transitions perfectly.
Chris Straub is
Chris Straub?
Yeah, it's
Chris
Chris
Straub.
Straub. Chris Straub
That
is really good at chameleoning his style into various and there is the timer.
The
Time is up.
bell.
Told you
The
we didn't
bell.
have enough time.
All right. Well, I said I wanted to dedicate a whole segment to Brood Hollow. Well, that was a good smattering of a first taste of comics on the internet, the kind of things we enjoy.
I want to do one quick thing, just in case this does get listened to, and if we don't end up putting this up, I will happily put it
I think we're gonna. At this point, I feel strongly enough about it that I think we're gonna put it
let's
up
put it up.
regardless.
All right, well,
Yeah.
then I feel strongly that I have to make this statement to all the listeners out there. They haven't read Homestuck. I have read some of Homestuck. I've gotten a couple thousand in. I wasn't able to make it any further. Please do not ask them about Homestuck.
I tried to figure out Homestuck at one point, and I asked Ryan about it, and I said,
can't.
what is Homestuck? Tell me about Homestuck. And Ryan's advice to me was, don't even try. Ryan knows the kind of consumer that I am.
Here's what you need to know about Homestuck. It's a pseudo-interactive. It's like a Flash-based comic. There are Easter eggs on a single comic that leads to another comic, which is a storyline, a side story that is longer than most other web comics.
It's a cool concept.
It's a great world.
It's not for people like you and I, Kyle.
No, the thing is, it's just like, I know the name Homestuck. I've seen it around, but it's just, I've never read it.
You'll see.
I don't know much about it, and it's just like I see the weirdest parts of the fan base.
You
the
see a lot of people
trolls.
cosplaying. Was it trolls?
The trolls.
Yeah, the people cosplay as the trolls.
Which
And
is
it's just like, I see the worst part of the fan base, and it's just like, it's not fair to judge a comic based on the worst part of its fan base.
Oh no, of course not.
But it has kind of turned me
I have
away from it.
nothing but good things to say about Homestuck, the world he's created, the way he presents it, the way he does storytelling. He is one of the few examples of truly digital comics. That's
a real innovation. That's an important innovation.
That being
cool.
said, I am not man enough to read the entirety of his archive. I tried. I was alone in the Catskills for 4 months.
That's
and
another
couldn't
story
do
to
it.
be told another time.
I wasn't alone, but they weren't people around me.
That'll give our listeners a good. People who are listening.
Fuck the Catskills!
people.
No!
People who are listening to this probably have a good knowledge of the Hell's Breakfast archives. Obviously, you know that Ryan has been a character in several comics. I don't make up much.
No,
I really don't.
He protects
really,
you.
honestly, yes, I do protect you. I tone it back. We have not gotten to hear the real Ryan Kennedy yet. Would you like to see into that now? I feel like this might be a good time
Oh, God.
to get us on 5 minutes on the clock.
I feel like we could wait. I feel like
we can save it for the coup de grace if you want.
Wait until I have another drink.
Do you have another one in the wings?
No, I'll go make another one.
Why don't you finish up yours? You can go
talk
get
about
another one,
wrestling
and
stuff,
Kyle and I
but
will
I
talk
don't-
about wrestling, and then you can.
Ryan can talk about wrestling too.
Ryan can come back into the middle of the wrestling.
It's only going to take me a half a
I
second.
Yeah, it really is.
Weird-ass drink.
So Kyle and I, and to a much lesser extent, Ryan are big fans of wrestling.
Which is a new development, relatively.
I like
It's a
the
new development in
Wyatts.
our lives. Yeah, we were never big wrestling fans as kids.
I watched for about a month when I was probably in 6th grade,
And
it was
I-
firmly in the Attitude Era, and I just never kept watching. My brother watched it.
I was in the same kind of boat where I got a little bit into it maybe with some of my friends when I was in that middle school age, and then right before college, I think I watched for a couple of months just Monday Night Raw. But we've been actually getting into it whole hog. Kyle's got a subscription to the network that I mooch off of.
You do. You leech the fuck.
I
out
leech
of
the fuck out of it, and it's great. We really and for those of you who are out there who are fans of the indies and things like that, we love to see indie shit when we can. We're not
You're not
real
very
up on it.
familiar with it.
Yeah, we're not real up on it. We watch WWE for
I
better or
catch
for worse.
NXT every week.
Yeah, and I get
Although I was discussing earlier is that we should actually give New Japan a watch because I've heard good
I'd be
things.
interested in that as well. I'm willing to call you our resident wrestling expert, honestly.
Yeah, expert is a relative term, but it's like I've watched enough backlog that I could probably say like, oh, I know who that person is.
So we got a couple of wrestling things today to talk about on our wrestling rundown, as I want to call it, with 2 W's.
With 2 W's.
And so let's put 5 minutes on the clock, and let's talk about Daniel Bryan actually subduing a home invader in a chokehold until the police got there. Let's start with that.
If I recall, the story was... Oh, Ryan's coming back. Good, you're just in time.
You're just in time to hear about Daniel Bryan chokeholding a guy.
Was it? I don't know. It's unclear as if it was his home or a home he was going to.
I believe it was his home.
It's in Arizona, if I recall.
I believe the reasoning he gave was he was scared for his dog that was inside. So I believe it was his home.
So he's pulling into his home, and as he's pulling in, he notices 2 people running away from the home, like trying to escape. And so, it was burglars. It was literally burglars.
For those of you who don't know, Daniel Bryan is a very popular wrestler in the WWE.
He's still super over.
He's still super over. Most recently, he won the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania against overwhelming odds. He's the people's champion.
Air quotes, overwhelming odds.
The Yes Movement.
He used to bomb into an RKO. That's pretty good odds.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
Into the RKO.
We're not talking about that. Right?
We're not talking about that. So 2 thieves were leaving his house, and so he managed to chase one of them down and subdue him until the police arrived.
For those of you wondering, yes, he performed the flying goat.
I hope he did.
What we want to know is like,
did he put him in the yes lock? That's all I want to know.
I'd like to imagine he put him in the yes lock until the police came in. Did he tap out?
It was a no tap out match.
But I mean, on a sadder note, he had a press conference with the local police. There's video of it.
Why the fuck wouldn't he? It's a kind of a huge deal locally.
Yeah,
and also in terms of what's happening in kayfabe right now, why would you not keep pushing the cop angle? Cops took away
Stephanie McMahon.
I'm not sure that really matches up.
Yeah, that doesn't really matter.
You're just like police wrestling. Let's go.
I'm looking at the tags.
The much bigger news to come out of this is that Daniel Bryan is going to require another surgery on his shoulder.
Yeah.
As a result of thieves?
No, just in general. He was doing rehab on the shoulder surgery he had previously, and he basically has half the strength in one arm as he has in the other. And upon further... what's the word I'm looking for?
Inspection.
They
Further diagnosis.
found out that he has a I think it was a compressed nerve somewhere like in the neck or the shoulder or something. I'm not a medical expert. I don't really know.
If you're describing
I'm not a doctor. I don't have a book on the spine. Yeah. I don't know.
If you're describing no outward injury, but he's experiencing weakness on one side of his body, it's a pinched nerve.
That's something that my mom has too.
He has a compressed nerve, and he's basically having the surgery to basically move it so it is no longer under pressure. And I believe they said after 3 weeks you can go about day-to-day activities and start rehab.
Yeah, that's going to need rehab.
And rehab takes, I think they said 6 to 8. So, I mean, it's not that long of a time. I mean, it's a couple months.
Royal Rumble return?
Yeah, with enough rehab, I mean, I think he could get up to decent enough strength. I think he might make a surprise entrance at the Royal Rumble. That is my prediction.
That's not a bad prediction.
As opposed to the no entrance last time.
The clock is running low, and I want to touch on this before the clock runs out. Paul Heyman, Brock Lesnar, SummerSlam. Brock Lesnar will injure John Cena. God damn, but I want to see that.
I know.
Oh.
The thing is, I'm really excited for it, but they're really kind of pushing the angle. It makes complete sense that Brock Lesnar is going to win the championship from John Cena and have a heel hold the championship until they have another face ready to take it.
I am just so scared that we're going to see another Lol Cena wins.
I know, and it's like, I understand why they do Lol Cena wins, but it doesn't help.
I can't count.
Yeah, you really can't. It's another minute.
Fuck. Good. Because that means I can make this comment. I hope that Cena keeps the lime green t-shirt on, or I will have trouble telling them apart.
Brock, no, I disagree. John Cena looks like that white kid from middle school who really, really wanted to be a gangster, and Brock Lesnar looks like Frankenstein. So
I've heard people making fun of his sword tattoo. That is not a sword tattoo. That is closely stuck together Aramaic that controls his form.
After hearing Paul Heyman on the Steve Austin show,
yeah,
I like Brock Lesnar a hell of a lot more.
Yeah,
I really
he
do.
kind of put him over on
He
the
did.
on the Steve Austin. Obviously, it's his client. But
Right.
Honestly, I think it's second nature to him now. How long has he been with the business?
Yeah, it's
Paul Heyman?
Yeah.
Dear God,
for his
since
his
the
life.
80s.
Yeah.
This
I
is
mean,
just
in
what
the-
he does.
In the 80s, he was Paul E. Dangerously.
Mm.
Like, he actually wrestled.
And there we're done.
Alright.
We're done with that. All right, so that was
Did
the
we talk
rest.
about the Wyatts?
We
I-
didn't.
I know
Well, they
you
were.
love them.
I like the Wyatts.
Ryan loves the Wyatts.
I
We don't have
also
anything.
love the
We don't have
Wyatts.
anything to say about the Wyatts this week. Honestly, I don't have
Well,
anything to say about the
They've
Wyatts
been
in general.
disappointing recently.
They've been kind of disappointing recently. Well, the tag team matches with the Wyatts and the Usos, those were pretty cool.
Those usually
I
end
wish
up
they
being
had
good
won.
just because the Usos are very high energy and
We're going
they
into
work
overtime
well.
again.
Yeah, we are.
No, we're shit. We're
They
shit.
work well together at doing tandem stuff, and both the two members of the Wyatt family, Harper and Rowan, are very, very good workers.
I gotta tell you, I gotta say,
presence on stage.
Yeah, they
But
do.
you know,
they
it's-
have very good presence.
it's funny. I gotta say two things, and I've said this both of you a couple of times. I'm a huge fucking Chris Jericho mark. I'm a
Yeah,
huge fucking Chris
yeah,
Jericho
yeah.
fan. We were at Raw in Hartford when Chris Jericho made his return, and I fucking marked out at the top of my lungs for like 10 minutes.
You didn't have a voice for like
I didn't
3
get my
days.
voice back for 3 days.
Whereas I'm rather new to this, I have no attachment to Chris Jericho. He's just a
I
guy who
am
looks like
no,
Gordon
but
Ramsay.
this brings me to a second thing. I am super disappointed in the Jericho Wyatt feud.
Oh,
It has come to fucking nothing so
I
far.
mean, the feud's okay. The match at Battleground.
The match at Battleground was piss poor.
No. I mean, here I need the two of you to answer this question because the microphone isn't going to.
Yeah.
This seems rather cynical to me. This seems very businesslike, very direct. Get popular plus pseudo popular. Make it happen. Like clap them together until sparks fly.
Jericho is settling into an uncomfortable rhythm of come back to put somebody over.
But it's not just that. Think about every Wyatt storyline leading up to this point. They have been billing him as someone who seeks to put down false idols.
Yeah, and-
Now, granted, you marked out so hard that you didn't have a voice for 3 days, but Chris Jericho isn't playing that angle.
He did though. He absolutely did.
Okay.
He has played that angle before. He's been a heel more recently. A heel that I actually prefer to his face character. The kind of and we got to move on to another
Yeah.
We're gonna move on pretty
We'll
soon.
move on soon.
But
Space to fill.
let's kind of just let this one piddle off because
We're going to be talking about it more.
We are.
All I'm going to say in response to Ryan is that when Chris Jericho came back, like Chris Jericho's kind of thing is like I'm going to save Y2J is going to save you, save us Y2J.
yeah.
And so that is totally a thing where Bray Wyatt would come in to be like, you think you can save these people.
But that
it fits
seems
Wyatt's
so.
character.
But yes, but that seems. Again, I don't know Jericho. That seems very tailor made. That feels like they workshopped it back and forth a couple of days. They had some words on a board. They had
Welcome to WWE.
welcome.
They are
Wrestling,
writers.
I
They
mean-
are writers. But I wish I didn't see the strings quite so
Yeah.
easily.
All right, let's
That's fair.
let's
That's
take
fair.
it to the next topic.
Are
Kyle,
we
I
all
think
onto our beverages in the wings?
Kyle and I, Kyle and I have to have a little bullshit right now. We're gonna put 5 minutes on the clock. We're gonna do another quick segment of what are you drinking and why. Let's go,
God.
Kyle.
Yeah,
we
we
both
just
just opened a
opened
fine Pilsner beer.
Oh Jesus! We are currently drinking some Miller Lite because it is in the fridge.
It's in the throwback cans, so it's cool.
I like the throwback.
I do
cans,
like the
honestly.
throwback cans.
That's
They
why
look
we're
nice.
drinking it in the basement.
The greatest thing about cheap beer is it's cheap, and I don't mind drinking it.
No, I don't mind drinking, but most light beer I don't mind drinking. Honestly, I don't like Bud Light at all. And it's really the only light beer that I'm just like, I really don't like.
Yeah, I am not a big Bud Light fan. I don't like
Because like Miller Lite and Coors Light, I can just drink and I'll be like, it's a light beer. I
Coors
can
Light-
just drink it.
Coors
Only
Light
one I
is.
can't stomach is Milwaukee's best. That's
Oh,
pissed.
well,
I
now
don't
you're
even know if I've ever.
You're going into a whole
Another can of
different
worms.
echelon of beers right there.
No, say whole nother.
Did I say whole nother?
No, you said whole different, but I was hoping for the whole nother.
I try really hard not to
One
do shit
whole
like that.
big ass nother on sale now.
I have an English degree, damn it.
No, yeah, but what do you do with it? That's why he draws pictures.
I know. Oh Christ.
And I hate my
Anyway,
beers. More.
I don't think that was. Actually, Ryan, what did you make?
Yeah, Kyle and I are drinking some shit ass. Oh, we gotta punch the top. Where's my keys?
I don't know.
You got your keys?
I don't have
I
the
took
keys.
them away
Is that
from
your
you
keys?
when you started drinking Miller
We
Lite.
gotta punch the top. All right, Kyle. Damn it, I'm already fucking up. Ryan, what are you drinking?
Okay.
And why? You've come down with a different, equally strange looking drink.
Actually, can I guess?
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, let's have guesses.
I am going to guess lemonade, iced tea, and whiskey.
You're pretty close. And the other ingredient, I don't hold it against you.
An Arnold Palmer with whiskey is actually very nice.
Well, here's the thing: the Arnold Palmer, I have unsweetened iced tea that I made up in the fridge, and it's just like if you use unsweetened iced tea, mix some lemonade, sweeten it with the lemonade, it's delicious.
So what this is, actually, there's barely any lemonade, truth be told. This is the remnants of drink 1, to which we added Tradewinds brand shitty sugary sweet tea. That's the unsweetened. That's unsweetened?
The Tradewinds is unsweetened.
I haven't tried it yet. I like to save it until after I've described it.
You've not even sampled this beverage.
Oh, no, I saved that for the camera.
Okay.
About half a can of Adirondack Diet cranberry soda, and let's
Those were that was seltzer.
Seltzer.
Mm-hmm.
And let's be generous here, a heaping helping of Ghost. Jim Beam.
Oh, the Jim Beam Jacobs Ghost.
Take a sip.
Let's have that.
Truth be told,
pass it around the circle. Actually, that's all.
Truth be told, the last drink was pretty good because the orange juice there was just enough to hide the taste of whiskey until about 30 seconds later.
Drink this fucking thing. I want to hear the reaction.
Barely any taste, truth be told.
Huh.
It's
the
the
thing
seltzer.
Is, since the tea is
it's unsweetened and seltzer. Okay, that being said, there's virtually no taste of whiskey either.
That's
Yeah, we'll give that a shot.
That is somehow tasteless and also slightly unpleasant.
You just don't drink much tea.
That's true.
That's all right. I can deal with that.
I mean, I'm going
I
to
can get
drain
to
it
that.
faster than I ought to. That's the answer to the question.
Well, that's the answer to all the questions.
That's the Irish way.
But back to the Miller Lite, a fine Pilsner beer. We've been drinking a lot of shit beer this summer.
We have.
You are
But the thing is,
unemployed.
I did bring down the Broadbrook Brewing beers a couple of times. Broadbrook Brewing Company is actually about 6 miles from my house, and it's.
Those are those assholes who keep bringing in the brown glass bottles to my store.
Those
saying,
are the ones.
Yeah, redeem this.
Yeah, you can't do that.
You can at our grocery
Oh, you
store.
can? Really? Wow.
There's a bottle deposit on them.
But for those of you who are wondering, Ryan Bleep, the internet already knows your name.
It's not well enough.
Ryan works 5 days remotely for a publishing house that shall remain nameless up in the Catskills, and
I'm pretty sure
the weekends at a local grocery store, and he hates both of them more than life. And we're gonna get to. I'm sure we're gonna hear some of that in our upcoming segments. They're coming. It's gonna be the next thing we do. And it's gonna be
It's
hype.
not my job because that wouldn't fit the segment. But go on.
Yeah.
30 seconds left on the clock.
We got 30 seconds
Pilsner
left.
beer.
I need to make a pee break. This is gonna happen a lot with a podcast where we drink during it.
Well, that's the sort of thing that's going to happen. So Ryan and I can bullshit a little more about liquor. Honestly, I think we actually beat the clock on this one in our liquor segment. We defeated the timer. I'm still going to let it run out.
Which is why I keep telling you not to cut us short.
Well,
Or again, for the listeners,
I'm trying to run a show. Goddamn
No,
it!
I understand that, but for the listeners' benefit, and because I really do value.
We're super inexperienced at this. We have never done. Oh, there we go. None of us has ever done anything like this before.
Which is why I make a point of at key points. I'm going to ask for viewer or listener feedback. Rather,
I think we've been stuttering a little more than I would like to have.
That's
on
really
like
just
this.
what happens when I speak. But I will make.
That's what happens when I speak too. Unfortunately, this is why I write.
I will make it. You don't. You draw.
Shut the fuck up. I know. I draw.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
When you drew the big ass mouth and you drew Game with a monocle and a mustache, which is what that character's name is, do you think anybody was looking at the words? No, they were looking at your mystical Slender Man.
Yeah, he's something else, ain't he?
He's no, honestly,
he's definitely filling that same role that Game fills in Adatum.
But the reason
and even if we were going to go in that direction, that's not a Game character. It's
no,
it's different.
and that's not even why I bring it up.
But he's creepy as shit. Yeah.
No, I bring him up because
he scares me a little bit.
Game is probably one of the few characters in Adatum from because he hasn't changed much.
No, he hasn't. He's been pretty much. He's the
probably
only character design that when I came on as artist, I had no criticism for. I just love that character so much.
I honestly, your character doesn't have a name yet, but that is what I feel to be a similarly solid, immediate conveyance is not the word I want, but it's that type of character.
You get the tone. You establish immediately the tone you want.
Precisely.
And I think that that character,
Which is all
who does have a name, but I'm not going to give it away just yet.
What are you guys talking about? I just got
we briefly decided to shill.
Sweet.
We weren't so much shilling as we were talking about some interesting
stuff?
aspects of comics. Yeah,
I'm not actually
comics that we
crazy.
work on. Yeah, not much.
The problem with the topic of superhero comics is I read them for about a year, maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, and it's just like I just really don't care.
I like Batman when he's by himself.
You know,
and
like
that's
when
about it.
I read Batman, like I remember reading Batman when it was it was just after Heart of Hush. Those were the first like comics I started following. Then that led into Streets of Gotham, and that was very good.
When Batman gets a good writer, Batman's very good. Batman written by Grant Morrison, Frank Miller, Jeff Loeb.
There are
any
good
of those guys.
superhero comics, most definitely.
Yes, I'll agree with you.
All-Star
But
Superman is really good.
I've never read that.
It's
and
Grant
I really
Morrison.
need
It's
to.
very good.
I would challenge you, though, to sit down with a pad of paper and a pen and say what constitutes a superhero comic, and then look at the superhero comics you think are good and see how many of the qualities line up.
Oh, here's a
How much, like the ones you like? How many of them are superhero going up against baddie du jour?
A superhero comic that's actually really worth reading is Invincible by Robert Kirkman. He's the writer from The Walking Dead.
This is the one we got in the Humble Bundle.
Yeah,
right? Okay.
it is a superhero comic like that where they do kind of like a villain of the week sort of thing, and it's actually very good. I highly recommend it. I can't really explain why I like it so much. It's just got a je ne sais quoi.
But but is it villain of the week where that is the primary plot line?
No, it's not.
Okay, then I think my point still stands.
I think your point probably does still stand. Matter of fact,
any point at which you have a superhero you've created and you have to create a supervillain whose powers are a threat to your hero, and then you're essentially every single time you are writing cop-outs or bullshit. You're either going to overwrite rules, you're going to ignore rules, you're going to invent some way to bend rules. Characters are going to act out of character. It's a poor way to write.
In order to keep the facade up, you need to make concessions in the writing elsewhere. Is what you're saying?
You need to make sacrifices.
Yeah, I think that's the word I meant to use.
And what you're getting out of it, I guess concession
well,
is still good.
So you're saying the superhero comic is a genre as opposed to being a comic that features a superhero character?
What did you? Yes, no, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
That's an important distinction. That's an important distinction to make. We're getting towards the end of our list. We're going to do a little hodgepodge kind of segment, and then we'll try to come up together with a nice 5 minutes on the clock segment to end the program.
Hey.
So let's do a little replay watch.
Okay.
Ooh.
And we're just going to talk about what we've been reading, what we've been playing, what we've been watching. How are we entertaining ourselves these days?
Come back to me. Oh no, you want me to go? Actually,
you don't want to go. I can go first. I'm fully ready to go first.
Go first because I need more than one answer.
I will go first because I talked about this with Kyle earlier, and I agreed to no spoilers, which is probably ideal for the listening audience as well. I just played through the first 4 episodes of Season 2 of the Walking Dead Telltale game, which still, in my opinion, Season 1...
I have played through Season 1 and 400 Days, and they were both great.
They're far and away the best incarnation of the franchise. Better than the TV show by a mile.
The TV show's in a place.
Let's not even talk about that right now.
Because I wouldn't have anything to add.
Well, it's coming back.
I won't even lie, though. I only watched the first season.
I
thought it was pretty good, but I didn't see any reason.
I'm caught up. It gets a lot worse. The first season is pretty good because Frank Darabont was involved, but then he got fired. But that's not really what I want to talk about.
That's a whole other can of worms.
It really is, and it's the Telltale game, and it's something you don't expect. You never expect a franchise game to carry any kind of gravitas.
But you do expect a Telltale game too.
Well, at this point, you do.
That fucking game.
They've really come into their own.
So fucking hard in the
right
feels.
in the gut. Oh, and season 2. Season 2 doesn't exactly get any better. Do you gentlemen know who the protagonist of season 2 is?
It's Clem, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I've seen the box art.
And I'll put a spoiler alert at the beginning of the podcast, so just in case people
I mean, you can throw it in the news post. And
Yeah.
There's if you haven't played through the
So you guys have both finished season 1 either by watching Let's Plays or by playing it through
Yes,
yourself.
I've played the game.
Here's how I finished it. I have seen a Let's Play from the very talented Two Best Friends, who you guys already seen.
We love those guys.
Anyway,
here, you know
I have
those
seen
guys.
episodes 1 through 4 in terms of the Walking Dead episodes, and I've had you drunkenly explain episode 5 to me.
You know how it ends, though.
Yes.
You know,
Yes, I know.
the spoiler I'm gonna say.
Yes,
know.
I know.
So season 2 starts. Lee's dead.
Yeah.
And he, which gets you right in the feels, is he's the voice of
Reason?
the last time on The Walking Dead for every
wow.
episode. Yeah.
Gotta throw him a couple of dollars.
Yeah.
Fistful of dollars.
So it's Clem, and it starts up almost 3 years later.
Oh, really?
So she's a little.
It's that long. It's that long afterwards.
She's a little older, which makes it a little more reasonably playing. And again, it is still on the same emotional and narrative level that season 1 was. The problem that I'm having at this point is I've kind of figured out how Telltale is running this game, and it's essentially there's not so much a branching decision tree as there is a river of here's how the game's gonna run, and your choices really don't have all that much effect on the experience.
Yeah.
And so you're not so much playing this game as you are experiencing it, and it's a fantastic experience. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, but it's not a whole lot of game
to say that
there.
anything completely changes by your choices in the game is false.
Is false, correct?
And it's just and the thing about that is I don't really count that much against it, because developing a game that really branches apart
is extremely difficult.
It would be extremely difficult, and I wouldn't really expect it.
And to have something like that fully voice acted would just be unreasonable.
It'd be unreasonable. And it's just this is you have certain things like The Walking Dead does it correctly, where you're like you said, it's like a river that is the experience, and the choices that you make during the game are going to kind of modify the experience a bit.
Mm.
And then on the other side, you have something like if I can shit talk Mass Effect 3 a little bit.
You can.
I mean, here's the thing: Mass Effect 3 gets way more hate than I think it deserves.
I agree.
But fucking the ending is bullshit. And I mean, and I know that's been done to fucking death, but it really was just this is 3 different points to end up. Nothing you did at any point really affected it, and it just ended up kind of being like, hey, these 3 endings have 3 different color schemes.
They painted themselves into a corner there, and I'm sure they could have handled it better, but they had so many different branching decisions. There was no way they could tailor a satisfying ending for everybody.
You're absolutely right. But the thing is, though, it's like Mass Effect 3, fucking loved playing it. It's just I had a great time playing Mass Effect 3.
There were some fundamental issues, at a very basic writing level with it, though.
Yeah.
And it's the exact same problem that it's the exact same problem that the 7th Harry Potter book has.
Which I haven't actually read.
Okay, I know you're making the last something.
Statute of limitations is over on that.
I'm not even going to give spoilers. The last something of a franchise.
It's typically going to fall short.
No, it's not even going to fall short. You cannot construct it like it was a movie where this is the entirety of the 3rd act.
Yeah.
Because look at the other 2 games. Those have starting, middles, and ends. If you construct the entire thing like a 3rd act, you're
always going to end up kind of in the same spot.
You are fluctuating in your emotional tone. You are not making emotional transitions.
Yeah, no.
It's hard to develop a character arc when you give the player that much choice.
There's no more arc at that point. There's no more development for Shepard.
Maybe eventually a developer will finally have enough of a talented writing staff to do it, but I don't think it'll happen for a while.
It would have to be their
as far
entire
as who has
death
done it best, I would say The Walking Dead has done it the best.
I agree. Walking Dead has been fantastic. So that is the end of story on that one. If you haven't played Walking Dead Season 1, I ruined it for you. If you have played Walking Dead Season 1 and you're on the fence about Walking Dead Season 2, I can't see why you possibly would be.
Yeah, let's put a nice bow around this. Any and all criticisms, if we can call them that you brought up about the game, how many of them occurred to you in the moment?
None of them.
None of them?
It's always looking back and thinking about
None
it.
of them? So, in the midst of the experience, you were 100% present.
They really draw you in because they put a time limit on everything, and,
Really?
and you don't have the time.
You don't have the time to think
You don't have the
back.
time to step back and think about the consequences of your decision. It comes from a very emotional place when you're making this.
I am very glad to see that they have learned from David Cage.
Well, that's another story.
That's
to
another
tell
story
another time.
right there.
Thank you, Walking Dead, for actually delivering on the concept of interactive video game storytelling.
So, Walking Dead Season 2, highly
Play
recommended.
that shit.
And the two people in this room have not played it. I
Yeah, I know.
recommend
I am going to play
get
it.
on
It's
your
just
shit.
a matter of time.
You're you're on the Destiny beta. Tell us a little
I
bit
am
about
on the
Destiny.
Destiny beta. I've only put in about, I would say, probably an hour into it. It's a lot of fun. I don't think I've quite gotten the swing of it yet, but I'm pretty sure that'll change because myself and Mr. Chips are going to be both purchasing PS4s, and we are going to be Destiny buddies. And but I mean, I don't think I have enough of an experience with it to really comment on it. But what I have been spending my time playing this week is I have been balls deep into Persona 4.
Oh, that's a good segue.
Which I have been playing. I mean, I played Persona 4 when it came out. And I did not get very far. I think in the very beginning, it's like I got to Yukiko's castle, couldn't beat the boss, and didn't really put the effort forth to kind of grind a few levels and beat it. And that's where I left off. But now I think I'm like 20 hours in, and
I am terrified of those games.
I'm fucking loving it.
No, that's
like,
why.
I'm enjoying the shit out of it.
No, you misunderstand.
We wouldn't see Ryan for 3 weeks.
No, yeah, sure. That's how long it would take you to play it 3
No,
times.
the thing is, even if you do everything in that game, like at max,
What if I did
it'll-
everything 4 times? I've seen those games.
Oh god,
They're like cocaine. I
don't know. I'm having a blast. I'm being so Japanese.
Thank
you know.
God they're not.
I watched
on
him.
PC.
I watched
Yeah,
him
you
play
watched me play it for like
for about an hour today.
Today.
So Yukiko made him a box lunch. It was terrible.
It was bad food.
Uh,
I decided not to be a dick. And I
yeah.
didn't throw it out. But like, I haven't decided who's going to be my waifu yet.
Naoto.
I haven't really met her
I
yet.
don't care. Save yourself.
In the plot line,
Naoto.
she's still currently a dude in the plot.
That's
so.
all right.
Well, that's
No, it's-
something that I don't know anything about.
I have run across her twice in a very short conversation.
Love at first sight.
All right, so gentlemen, we're winding down the program
Step that
here.
hat
Let's take a few minutes to bullshit and come up with our last 5 minutes on the clock. Sydney, what are we going to talk about?
God. Well, we never got what Ryan's reading,
That's
playing, or
all right.
watching.
What are you reading, playing, or watching?
You know what? Let's not bullshit it.
Yeah.
I've been playing a lot of Hearthstone.
Still?
What do you mean still? The expansion started
You've been
dropping
playing
this
for a
week.
while.
I've been meaning to do the expansion, and I haven't even
I
touched it yet.
I don't know. I don't know
Okay.
what it is. I just can't get my heart into it.
I have a crippling weakness
For TCGs.
for card games. The only one that I have never played Magic in real life. In terms of the collected digital versions that they've put out, and are available on Steam, I think I have something like 350 collected hours playing those games.
Whoa.
God damn.
In terms of playing Hearthstone, it's kind of hard to get an exact number because it only tracks the number of wins you have in ranked mode. I've got about 340 wins in ranked mode. I'm close to my golden hero. If you take in wins and losses in casual mode, I'm probably close to 1,000 games of Hearthstone.
Damn, man.
With the expansion just having dropped this week. And these two don't play enough of it for me to get into what I want
I
to
played
talk
that game
about.
for about an hour.
Like what at this
I
point,
played a fair bit, but not nearly as much as that.
at this point, what I would want to talk about, and they would have no way of joining in on the conversation, is I would want to talk about how the new expansion is changing the meta. I would want to talk about how even something as simple as the Nerubian egg has changed Zulak. They think I'm talking Greek. I just want to show I've actually played the game.
But I would something that I'm glad you mentioned those things. I would be interested if people wanted to hear more about that. If that's the kind of thing you want to hear more about, we can certainly come to your aid.
If people actually do want to hear me talk about Hearthstone, I will say I don't play Zulak, I don't play Handlock, I don't play Freeze Mage, and I don't play Miracle Rogue. I am a die-hard priest player, and I will be a priest player until the game goes off the air.
The only thing you
Unless
just said that
leave it
made
at that.
any sense to me was Miracle Rogue because I've heard of that before, and all I've heard is it's bullshit.
And Weed Van Queef.
Yeah, I refuse to play anything but Priest. There is no version of the gameplay in Hearthstone that is more entertaining than Priest. But again, at this point, we're going to leave this here. If you want to hear me talk about it more, feel free to ask the man behind the camera.
So, gentlemen, final segment.
All right.
What are we going to put 5 minutes on the clock for?
Shit now.
I honestly...
You know what? Here's something that the majority of the room...
We went through my list.
We're going to call that 2/3 of the room can talk about.
Sure.
I think it's fair because it's never shown up on Hello Breakfast. I think it's fair that the listeners know a little bit something about our music tastes.
Our music tastes. All right.
Okay.
Interesting.
I think there's enough quality material, Mr. Vinyl over here, with your weird grandmaphone.
Kyle's got a lot of vinyl.
I do. It's really not that much. I'm not even feeling like a single row of my.
Okay,
shit.
Kyle owns vinyl.
I have some vinyl.
Kyle's got more vinyl than the rest of us put together.
And Albetsky has been to every Arcade Fire concert in New England in the last 6 years.
That is not true.
I've seen the
t-shirts. I don't really care for them.
No, I've
so what
seen
have I been?
t-shirts.
So we can turn this into what have we been listening to this week?
I think just music bullshit. 5 minutes on the clock.
Sure, 5 minutes on the clock.
Let's talk about some music. And go.
Well, this week, I mean, when I'm at work, I work as a software engineer, and oftentimes I'll have music on my headphones. My music of choice for this weekend has been actually the Wu-Tang and the Beatles mashup album.
What is it called?
Enter the Magical Mystery Chambers.
Yes, I've heard.
It's kind of the best.
I've heard a good bit of this. It's kind of the best. Our friend Zach actually has it on vinyl,
which is fucking awesome. Me and Zach will often make trips to the vinyl store every couple of weeks and pick up a few things. But yeah, it's very good. The guy that made it has a real sense for he doesn't take full Beatles songs like ever. He just focuses. I mean, he does it like a hip hop artist does, where they find a single lick or a single riff that they like.
For clarification, this is the vocals from Enter the Wu-Tang put over.
I think there's stuff that's. I think it's just general Wu-Tang Clan.
Is it?
I believe it's not just Enter the Wu-Tang.
Okay, I was here, but when I listened to it, I heard a lot of Enter the Wu-Tang.
There is a lot of it on there.
Yes. Put over beats based on Beatles tracks from Sgt. Pepper's. Or no,
spans all of the Beatles.
It does? It does?
Yes,
Okay.
It does.
So again, then never mind. I thought it was two specific albums mashed up.
It's not. It is all encompassing.
You honestly just looked at the cover and tried to.
Well, it's not even. Honestly, it's not even Sgt. Pepper's. It's Magical Mystery Tour and the Wu-Tang Clan that the cover is made out of.
Yeah.
But
and other than that, God, I haven't listened to that. I listen to mostly podcasts at work now, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah. That's fair.
I drive to New Hampshire pretty much every week.
And I told you, start listening to some podcasts.
I did. I started listening to the Steve Austin Show. And
Steve Austin Show's good, but not every episode's worth listening to.
Yeah, well, I listened to the one with Paul Heyman.
Which is a very good one.
Very good. But yeah, I'd be interested in getting into some other podcasts for the road.
I have a few I could give you to listen to.
Yeah, I'd be down to hear.
Are you ever gonna watch the the Super Best Friends cast?
I might.
They're
I'm scared.
long.
I'm scared by it because it's 3 hours long.
It spans 2 days for me when I listen to their podcast.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't do too much of work.
I love the Best Friends Zaibatsu. I'm not sure I could listen to them for 3 hours straight.
Yeah, I would definitely go with listen to about an hour at a time.
And that's not even to say because I can listen to them for 3 hours straight because I binge watch their videos. But I don't think I can listen to them in a continuous conversation for 3 hours straight. If you catch my meaning.
Yeah, I mean the thing is though, they do their cast in almost kind of a similar fashion where they have the list of topics. So they are moving.
I gotta be honest, I've never heard it. I would give it a shot.
Give it a shot.
I like all of them.
I'm going to be informing him as to what the structure of their podcast. Don't be surprised if next week's is very similar.
Yeah, well, I am a goddamn thief.
It is a very stripped down, very easy to work with formula, and I feel like I have to give Woolsworth credit on that one. There is one man. You are the Wooly of this podcast because you're the one with the computer.
No.
Yeah.
And the headphones.
I do love Wooly. And I did have a Hulk doll broken as a child.
He is a
Really?
big-
Who broke your
No,
heart?
I'm kidding. I didn't have that. I had a Thing, actually. I had a Thing action figure that was...
A thing fits in that Batmobile
perfectly! Ha!
Wow, we made it almost all the way through without a bullshit reference.
Always time for a Simpsons reference.
Oh, is that what it's from?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, let's
We
end the
still got a
pod.
minute
We
on
got
the
a
clock.
minute to talk about
Actually, if we're
music.
still
We're supposed to be talking about
if we're still
music.
on topic of music.
Yeah, technically we're talking about what we're listening to.
You know who
It's
I?
fair.
You know who else I booted up for the first time in actually a few months was I fired up a few They Might Be Giants albums.
Hey, you know,
I
if
go
it's
through
not
phases with
nanobots,
them.
I'm there.
I
did not like nanobots.
Nanobots had a couple tracks I liked, but it's just
Alright,
like
name-
as an album, I
It
didn't
felt
like it very
lazy. It really did.
Is that I have to assume that's one
The
of
most recent one.
Okay, can you
I
name
like-
much. All the songs were very short. On it.
Yeah.
name the tracks you liked? Maybe I've heard them because I just listened to a playlist.
Oh Lord, I think it was. Is it the opener? That's the one about the combustible head.
Yeah.
You
You know, I don't-
I'm on fire. I think the track is called.
I
It's
don't-
a good track.
I don't count the kids' albums from They Might Be Giants.
Yeah.
The
Like,
last
I thought
two.
The Else was very good.
The Else is actually my favorite one.
Really?
Join Us was pretty good
Join
too.
Us was also very good.
Wait, you don't like Pictures of Pandas Painting?
I don't even actually know that.
I have
one.
never heard of that one. Yeah, I gotta be honest.
I'm not going to sing it for you because it's pretty monotone, so you won't be able to tell
It's a
if
song or it's an album.
Oh no, it's a song
Oh,
off
it's
of
a
their
song.
kids album.
Oh no, I have not.
Then,
listened to the
yeah,
kids-
no.
kids-
No,
kids
thank you.
albums.
No.
What about
thank
the Elements?
Oh,
Well,
Justin
we're out of
saved us
time.
from talking about that. All right, thank you for listening to the Health Breakfast Podcast for this week. For Ryan, Kyle, and I, signing off. Everybody say goodbye.
I'll be better next week. You're gonna have to edit that out because I already know you're gonna edit out everything I say.
So fucking much of what you